I'm thinking of reviewing things. I'm thinking of reviewing things. Huh? What? Who's talking? It's me, you idiot. It's true. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. This weekend, September 4th, we have I'm Thinking of Ending Things, the brand new Charlie Kaufman film. Now, if you don't know a lot about Charlie Kaufman and you're going into this completely blind, you're probably not going to get the movie you expect, but today we're going to try to unpack in a spoiler-free way, since the movie's technically not out yet. Thank you so much to Netflix for providing me this screener. Spoiler-free, like I said, and let's talk about it. So, full of misgivings, a young woman travels with her new boyfriend to his parents' secluded farm. Upon arriving, she comes to question everything she thought she knew about him and herself. So again, this is probably the hardest review I've had to do in quite a while, even more difficult than Tenet. I've waited days after watching this screener, trying to figure out how to approach this in a non-spoiler way. It's a bit easier when we can talk about what goes down in the film, but I will try my best to refrain. Kaufman is clearly an interesting director, and even more interesting writer. Whether it's a film in being John Malkovich or one of my favorite films of all time, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the man knows how to construct a screenplay. And then you look at his directing, right? A film like Synecdoche, New York, unlike anything I had seen prior. But even that movie, I believe on its surface, general audiences will be able to approach it and make something of it, even if you're not picking up on all of the beautifully layered details of that film your first time watching. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is not for the faint of heart. It is not a movie that you're just casually watching. This is a film that, you have to sit and soak in every word, every moment. The dialogue is so important in this film. Even when you are doing all of those things, you're still going to have to pause after the film is over and ask yourself, what did I just watch? Because that's the kind of film this is. So again, I feel as if this is going to be extremely divisive. The first movie I thought of, even though it's very different from that film, is Mother. Remember when Mother came out and audiences hated it? Certain critics really loved it, other critics not so much. I feel as if this will get similar reception to Mother. Again, drastically different kind of film, but in terms of the way that it's received, I think that's similar. Granted, I do believe in its own weird way that is warranted. Even though I fall in one specific place, and I'll get into that here in just a second, I will understand if I have people in this comment section saying, Austin, what are you talking about? The movie makes no sense. What's going on? And I get it. Again, we can't dive too deep in this review, but I do kind of want to talk about what I just saw and why I feel as if it's a film that the longer you think about it and the more you do actually dive into, okay, how does point A connect to point D, but you kind of have to circle back around to point B, that's when the movie not only started to make at least a bit more sense for me, that's when it really started to hit me, and I have not been able to stop thinking about this film. It has been 6 days, I believe, since I watched it. Not stop thinking about it. And that's the kind of movie you're looking for when you approach not only a Charlie Kaufman film, but a very art house and will be somewhat divisive movie. Netflix being the home, it does scare me. This is the place where we have the kissing booth, the movies that are easier to approach, right? This is not a movie that is easy to approach. It is going to make a lot of people frustrated, upset, but within that, I think there's something beautiful there. Think a filmmaking style that is very much a throwback to the 60s or 70s with Linklater-esque dialogue. And I say that because 2 weeks ago I was watching the Before trilogy, the perfect showcase of this kind of dialogue. Within those films, you have long conversations that take up the majority of the film. It's a very dialogue-heavy, dialogue-driven movie. That is exactly what you can apply to this film, except again, you have to go even deeper than that. There will be very out-of-place moments and times when our characters are kind of reciting poems or they go off on a random, it seems, tangent, and they're talking about how certain things within the world just do not make sense at all and how the future and the past, they're creeping up with each other. And that's where you kind of look at this story structure and you say to yourself, what does this actually mean? And they say it in the film, and this is really when things started to click for me. Are we moving through time, or is time moving through us? Austin, I just saw Tenet, had no clue what was happening. You think you had no clue what was happening within that movie. I felt the exact same way with this film, except in much more of an artistic, less blockbuster-esque sense. But let's talk about this cast really quick. We have Jessie Buckley, who plays the young woman whose name changes many times throughout the movie. That's one thing that was confusing me. I'm like, okay, is she? Who is she? That's also part of kind of what we're trying to figure out here. Toni Collette, who is every bit of what you want from Toni Collette as the character. She and David Thewlis plays father and mother, and the only character with the name that sticks throughout the movie is Jessie Plemons, who plays Jake. Now, Jessie Plemons, Jessie Buckley, the two Jessies, Jessie squared, they are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Buckley especially is phenomenal, but I've always wanted to see Jessie Plemons stick out like he stuck out in this film. And as we're moving through the movie, basically separated, I would say 3 to 4 different parts, we start out with an extremely long conversation during our car ride to the home of the parents. Then we get to spend some time with these parents, but we start to notice things happening in the background, a lot of subtle details within this movie. Okay, what exactly is happening here? Back to the time construct and how that works. Then we get another long conversation followed by the final portion of this film, which is something that no one, even if you've read the book that this is based off of, no one will expect what is going to happen. I was able to dive a bit into the original story, and this movie does capture that spirit, absolutely, but Kaufman takes that and kind of maybe translates it to screen in a bit of a different way, not something that everyone is going to find as a good payoff. But again, and we will talk about spoilers in a second video because I want to tell you guys why I believe this movie is genuinely a good movie. I just can't do that without diving into what all of this means. You will walk away going, wait a second, what? Who is this character that continues to reoccur? Why are these random events happening? What is the point of this specific line of dialogue? Why is there a 20-minute scene of one character yelling at another character? What do these arguments actually mean? And they say it in the movie, and I'll leave you with this, just kind of giving you as non-spoiler details as possible, but this film deals with memories, fantasies, and what life could be like if we approach it in a certain way. Now, clearly, Buckley's character is thinking of ending things, referring to the relationship between she and Plemons, but keep in mind that it's a very fantastical film set in almost a fantastical world, but a lot of it is this what if, how we approach life. If we go in this certain direction, what happens, vice versa. And that's kind of the mentality you need to have. But again, this is not a casual watch. Releasing it on Netflix is scaring me because I just feel as if a lot of people are thinking they're in for a full-on horror movie or a full-on drama or a full-on thriller. But what you get is small snippets of each, horrific elements, but nothing that actually scares you. What scares me is more of what Kaufman is able to build with his filmmaking and the gorgeous shot selection cinematography from Lucas Zoll, who did Cold War. It is a beautiful movie. I love the aspect ratio. I loved the detail within the background. The look of the film is outstanding. It is the best looking movie I've seen all year. Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, it is beautiful. But it's the story, the complexity of it, that I think some people will use the word convoluted. I'm seeing that argument with Tenet as well. Is it convoluted? Is it complex? I'm thinking of ending things will confuse people even more than Tenet. But if you can sit back, soak it in, if it hits you in that right way, then I think a lot of people are going to walk away. So just know this is a very different kind of movie. But if you're a fan of Charlie Kaufman and you know his filmmaking style and his writing style, of course, based off the prior source material, then I believe you will come away with something extremely important when it comes to this movie. So just giving you guys an idea of what this film is. As for my score, oh my goodness, this is so difficult. I am personally going to go an 82% for I'm thinking of ending things. Again, I'm still a bit confused about a couple of things, and I don't know if I'm all the way there on that ending just yet. And the moments and the scenes within our characters' discussion, some of those maybe didn't hit me on the level that was intended, but I'm kind of awestruck by the experience that I just had. And it's one that I definitely need to go back. I've already went back and watched snippets of the movie again just to prepare for this review, but oh my gosh, guys, so many thoughts going around in my head, and I'm interested. I'm also scared, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So, how did you feel about I'm thinking of ending things? Would you like to see a spoiler review from me? It's something I'm considering, something that I want to do. Appreciate you guys. If you liked this review and you want to see more, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. And, I need to go sleep this off.